Good morning, folks. Welcome back to Markelly Farm. We're not actually on the farm today because you know what time of year it is? It's harvest time. That means I'm going to be a whole lot busier for the next month or so. So come along with us. It's first day of harvest 2023. Just left breakfast at my favorite restaurant, the Tumbleweed, and we're headed out to the field. The truck is all loaded and ready for me to take to the elevator. What they do is the first day when they come onto a field, actually every night once harvest gets going, they will fill the trucks the night before, because once the elevator closes you can't haul in anymore. But last night they opened up the first field and they filled the trucks and they filled the grain carts, so we have several loads to take into the elevator before they get going this morning. Now you may wonder why it's not dark outside and we're not starting with the chickens. Thinking all farmers get up early. Well, we get up early, you just can't start harvesting early because the dew sets overnight and it makes the beans in the field wet. And you can't combine wet beans. You got to wait until the sun comes up and everything dries out. Otherwise, everything balls up inside the combine. So it gives us time to get those loads in the morning, and in the meantime, they service the combines and stuff like that, get things ready to go, get everything fueled up. And you can usually start combining about noon. Things are nice and dry. Of course, it depends on the weather and whether the dew actually set the night before. And then you can combine all day long, and you can combine even into the evening until the dew starts setting again, and then you got to call it quits. But about that time you've got the trucks and everything loaded up and the grain carts ready to go again the next morning. Now here's some useless trivia you may enjoy. Why do they call a combine a combine? Well, they call it a combine because it combines two processes that used to be done separately back in the old day. Back in the day, they would cut the crop, get it on the ground, and then they would bunch it up, and then they would thresh it with a completely different machine. Whereas modern day combines will cut and thresh the crop all in one, and you get out the other end the final product, which is the corn or the beans or whatever you're processing. Now this will be the third year I've helped this family out with harvest. Originally I started to help my cousin out because my cousin worked for this family, and it was really hectic because they're the ones that own the Tumbleweed restaurant, and he had a hard time finding the time to get out and help with harvest, so I told him I would pick up the slack. Well, now their regular guy that they had when I started is doing his own thing, so now I'm doing it and my cousin's back doing it. So we're tag teaming all the hauling. My cousin also works as a mechanic for them when needed. But me and my cousin will be hauling together this year. All right, we are headed out, loaded up and ready, westbound and down. There's the elevator up ahead. Every time I come over the hill and I see that elevator like that in the distance, it reminds me of the Wizard of Oz when Dorothy just first saw the Emerald City in the distance, especially at night when it's all lit up. Now there's a railroad crossing up here by the elevator. They've got it closed this year. They frowned upon you going across that crossing because there's no crossing arms and it's kind of a steep approach to the tracks. So they want you to go around through town and come in on the north side, got a much better road. But you always had those farmers that tried to sneak across them railroad tracks and get in front of everybody else, but making it unsafe for everybody else too, and taking the risk of getting hung up on those tracks. And then that's real bad news if a train's coming. This is a nice road they made to come in from the north, and they concreted it real nice because of the heavy trucks coming down through here. Now it's early on in harvest right now. When we get to the peak of harvest, there'll be trucks backed up on this road, 5-6 trucks deep, waiting to turn in. And that's why when people try to sneak across that railroad crossing down here, they come in and want to cut in line right here, and they're acting like they're the only ones that need to get back to the combine. So as you pull in here, this is the area where you roll your tarp. If you're lucky enough, you got a remote one where you don't got to get out of the truck. If not, you just park here, get out, roll your tarp. We got a remote so we can do that rolling in. Next thing you do is you drive up to this area here. There's a speaker box. You tell them who you're hauling for, where you're from, and then they probe you with this probe right here. They test for moisture and debris and all that stuff. So we'll roll on in here and tell them who we are. Just gotta wait for our light to turn green there. Alright, now we can head up to the scale. Right up there, there's another speaker box. Once the scale lady gets your weight, she'll let you know what door to go to up there to dump. Like I said, there's not a lot of truck traffic this time of year, so it takes a while for her to notice you sitting down there waiting to get probed. And she gets a little testy if you press the call button. Alright, we're all weighed in. Now we've been instructed to go to door number 1. They've got a pit in here that covers both of your traps on the trailer. So once you get here and get lined up, you don't have to move. You can dump both without moving. It's kind of nice. You learn little tricks after you do it for a while. I figured out if I stop where this crack right here is between my rear duals, my traps are lined up perfectly here on the pit. I don't know what it is about watching grain or corn, soybeans, whatever, flowing like this. I could do it all day long. Alright, we've dumped our load. This is the outbound scale, so you don't have to go back across the same scale. And then they have a printer out here. They print out your scale ticket. So we'll see what we hauled. Alright, we got 54,400 pounds of soybeans, which comes out to about 906.67 bushels. Alright, we are back on the road. They're over there servicing the combines, getting them ready to go in the morning. There's a lot of maintenance involved, greasing and fueling and all that stuff. Now here's what the soybeans look like in the field. You can see the pods. If you've been like to a sushi restaurant or whatever and ordered the edamame, that's what this is. Just the green version. But you split this pod open and you get the dry soybeans on the inside. Here comes my next load. Now, unlike the soybeans, the corn that's grown around here gets consumed locally by, we take some to a feedlot where they raise cattle. We take some to a big mill that does a big hog operation here locally. They got lots of hog barns. And we also deliver to a feed store here locally pretty much all the corn. Now the soybeans, however, they're most likely going to end up overseas. The big elevator like this one, they will load trains. There's a train spur that comes in here with a whole bunch of grain cars, and they'll load all these soybeans up, and usually they head to the west coast, sometimes Seattle, sometimes Portland, and they'll load big cargo ships with these soybeans and send them overseas. Grain cart was waiting for me when I got here this time. They were full, ready to offload. The other truck I passed halfway on the way here. Only takes about 5 minutes to load, so we're turning and burning. Now in the corn, we get by with one combine, but when we're doing soybeans, the boss has a custom guy come in by the name of Troy to run a second combine, runs his own, because the soybeans, they only yield about 1/3 of the bushels per acre as corn does. So a good cornfield will do about 175 bushels per acre, whereas these soybeans are only going to do 50 or less, so about 1/3. So you can run 2 combines to keep things going out here, but if we were doing corn, we'd be lucky to keep up with 1 combine. There's Clay bringing my next load. You're YouTube famous now, Clay. Hey there, cousin. Go, go, go. He's taking off for his daughter's volleyball game for a little bit. He better hurry up, he ain't going to make it. Got held up by a coal train. As far as the eye can see. Might as well bust out some tater chips. It's gonna be a while. Every time I pass this field here, I can't help but think about my uncle This is one of the fields that I used to help him with when I would come visiting to Nebraska back in the day. He's not farming anymore. Just 5 years ago we were out here in this field working together, and today he's in a nursing home and doesn't even know who I am. Alzheimer's a terrible thing to watch. The memories that people have of you are the only thing left when you're gone. Make sure you're making good ones. Lady out the scale house just informed me, since we're the only ones running today, they're going to shut down at 6 p.m. So I got to call my cousin and tell him to stay in the field and don't come back. Now, once harvest gets going and there's a lot of people coming in, they usually stay open till 8. Getting fuel on our last load. Get the truck pump, you can pump both sides at once. The other good thing about the truck pump is they have the long handle squeegees. Alright, I got my peanuts in my Pepsi and we're ready to go. A couple windmill towers pulled in for the night, looks like. Alright, we're back at the field. My cousin's truck is full and tarped. And then this grain cart here is completely full. And when they bring the other grain cart in, they'll load my truck and tarp it. And then they'll go back out and fill that grain cart again. And then they'll shut down for the night. The first day of harvest is officially over for me. So we're going to grab some dinner in town and head home and see my lovely wife. So hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Stay safe, stay healthy. We love you guys. Come back and see us. We'll be back on our little farm.